understand what you're saying. No.
There it is.
Let's hear it.
Well, let's hear it.
Talk to us.
Beadle and Decker, taking on sports talk like no one else. Michelle Beadle.
I'm just helping. I'm helping America one by one.
Cody Decker.
I 100% believe in revenge. Revenge is a great thing.
Back to the sports.
Back and ready for more.
Every time I tune them out, they pull me back in.
It's Beadle and Decker. Here's Michelle and Cody.
Sirius XM when we were.
Oh boy, I've learned a lot of things the hard way on Sirius XM.
I knew you were the right guy to go to that with. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. As you know, I love me some Sirius XM, and they love me right back. Let's get into the sports of it all because we got plenty to cover today. We got plenty to discuss, plenty to pontificate about. But at the end of the day, I mean, what do we got right now? Major League Baseball is back. We are excited about Major League Baseball being back. We're in the midst of spring training. I don't know what to say other than I've had this conversation with everybody this week, and I want your opinion. Are we just wasting our time with everything because we have a pretty good feeling who's going to be at the end of the tunnel, and that is the looming Los Angeles Dodgers with everything they've pulled off?
Well, no, we're not wasting our time. I'm not that pessimistic. Although I have to say they have become the big bad wolf of MLB. And I think that maybe that's even good for baseball. It's been a long time since we've had a real villain, if you will. It used to be the Yankees in the 90s. I feel like the Dodgers have certainly earned that with the way they've been writing checks and stacking their lineup. But the more that I look at the Dodgers, actually, the less convinced I am that they are an total juggernaut the way everybody else is. I'll tell you that. Now, I do think they should be the favorites, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion, especially not with the way now that MLB has opened up the playoffs to so many playoff teams. I mean, it's quite easy to make the playoffs these days. And if any team gets hot at any time, they can go all the way. It really is about who's been good lately once you get to the playoffs. So, play well enough to get to the playoffs and then be like the 2019 Washington Nationals and win the World Series, even though you don't really deserve it.
I thought they deserved it, but that's neither here nor there. But I mean, there's even more recent examples. You could talk about the Texas Rangers versus the Arizona Diamondbacks, even though that one actually drives me nuts because we had to deal with the stupidest narrative. Oh, there are no stars in this. Well, whose fault is that, ESPN and Major League Baseball? Because you haven't told anybody about these two teams at the time. Now, granted, they got their dream matchup between the Yankees and the Dodgers the follow-up year, and of course last year, which I firmly believe was the single greatest World Series we've ever witnessed.
It's phenomenal.
It really was. But it's funny is of the teams that we kind of have on our personal lists to possibly take down the Dodgers. Now, you're mentioning that you don't see this as the Dodgers just doing it all on their own. What is it about this team that makes you question them? Is it their pitching staff? Is it the injuries that are available to them? Because what I've noticed, I mean, last year they won a World Series without a full pitching staff, and the year before that they won a World Series with basically their AAA pitching staff.
They did win a World Series without a full pitching staff, but it was very close. Let's be real. And it could have gone either way. So when we're talking about actually winning, there were also years, 3 or 4 years ago, when everybody thought the Dodgers were a juggernaut and they couldn't get out of, the NL. They couldn't win the pennant versus for instance, the Padres owned them a few years ago, which is kind of silly. What my concern would be is more about the age of the players and some of what seems to be declining ability of a few of their top players. We look at it and we see Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts is amazing. And Mookie Betts showed flashes of being amazing last year, but he also showed a little bit of fall off. And inevitably this happens when players get older. Same with Freddie Freeman, still a phenomenal player, don't get me wrong. But there just are pieces of that lineup that it's possible maybe just aren't at the peak where people think of them as being. So I don't think it's an unbeatable lineup ever. I do think it's a really strong lineup, and I do think they are the rightful favorites, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. I just don't.
Well, I've given my pick all throughout the week, but I'm going to give it again because I really do believe in the Seattle Mariners this year. This is a team that has hurt me in the past when it comes to gambling odds. I picked that team like 3 years in a row because of that pitching staff. I picked that team 3 years in a row because I thought offensively they were going to come into their own, and it never happened until last season. And they were also giving me a lot of problems with that as well, because it took all the way through the first half before they really started to figure it out, because they were hitting all season. Yet somehow that God tier pitching staff, and I do like using that phrase, God tier pitching staff, for some reason wasn't really showing up for the first half of the season last year until the second half, where it really kind of came to its own. And the Mariners finally looked like the Mariners from 1996 that I dreamed of watching in a deep playoff run, of which we got, and of course inevitably lost in the seventh in game 7 of the ALCS. But with the Blue Jays seemingly taking a step back and not really knowing yet what the Yankees are with the health of Rodon and Garrett Cole, and the Boston Red Sox seemingly choosing to do absolutely nothing, the outside of the Mariners, the team that intrigues me the most in the American League, honestly, is the Baltimore Orioles. But right now, I look at this as the Mariners and a distance between them and the Baltimore Orioles.
So I agree that the Mariners should be the favorite for the AL, but I am not as sold as everybody else. And I think so much of what the Mariners did last season was based on Cal Raleigh having an MVP season. And the odds of him repeating that, I think, are low. I mean, if you look at things like Cal Raleigh splits at home versus righties, he's batting sub 200. The guy hits a home run or he hits nothing. So I'm not overly confident in that. Eugenio Suarez is not there. It's a pitcher's park. The pitchers should be better. I agree that if the pitchers get up to the level where we expected them to be, because as you mentioned, in the past, we've always thought Seattle is a pitching heavy team. That's where they're dominant pitching. It's a pitcher's park at T-Mobile. If they can get back to that level and the offense stays the same, declines 10%, then yeah, they probably should be the favorites. But that's a lot of ifs. So I don't know. I don't feel like there is a clear favorite in the AL. I do agree with you that the Baltimore Orioles need to be taken seriously. What if Adley Rutschman has a comeback year? They went out and they got Alonso. They made some moves. So I'm very interested in the Orioles as well. And they have such a glut of talent coming up because they had so many years where they were so bad. So they have quite a good farm system too. So they can just keep replenishing it. You got Jordan Westburg there. You just got a lot of talent. You got Gunnar. There's just a lot of talent there. And then, one of the leading candidates for AL MVP, Basallo, who they can't even find a spot for him to possibly play. He's probably playing DH because he's a catcher and he's probably blocked by, no pun intended, Adley Rutschman. So I do find the Baltimore Orioles really, really interesting. Probably to me, though, it's still the Yankees. even though they're disgusting and it's kind of hard to see how they do it. But to me, the Yankees are like the Dodgers, where they kind of make it work, even though on paper you look at it and you're like, how are they making it work? They just do, because they're the Yankees. They do that often.
Well, it's interesting. Some people in the chat have some thoughts on this. I do disagree with this altogether. Raleigh is overrated, in my opinion. He hit 247 last season. That's not great. I would make the argument that 247 in today's day and age of Major League Baseball is actually phenomenal. And if we're looking at damage done, I'm sorry, he could hit 150 or 100 if he's hitting me 62 home runs on the season. I don't care. Strike out every other pitch. That's an outrageous amount of damage and likely will lead to 100 RBIs just by osmosis of guys being on base. That being said, would I like him also to hit 300? Of course, but we're talking about an echelon of type of player in today's day and age that really doesn't exist outside of like two guys, and in the history of baseball really only exist of 15 people like ever. And I look at the way pitchers pitch today. I don't really understand how anyone makes contact, but that's my pick. Jen, what's your pick, and why do you believe in the Atlanta Braves?
I know this is nuts, but I think they're being disrespected. If you go even to like the sports book, they have just the third best odds within their division. The Mets and the Phillies are ahead of them. I think the Mets and the Phillies are going to be a good team, but I really think we're sleeping on the Braves. If you want to talk about a great pitching staff, Braves certainly have that potential. You've got Chris Sale, you've got Spencer Strider, who should be much better this year after more time to heal from his UCL. You've got Schwellenbach. I know we got some injury news there, but they also have a good reputation with pitching, and I think that's going to come back. Ronald Acuna has self-reported that he feels 200%. 200%, guys. Come on.
That's
straight from the horse's mouth.
Mathematically not possible.
But he's Ronald Acuna Jr., and he's like 28, right? He's right there in this prime.
Well,
Michael Harris Jr.
When you learn that your brother is a switch hitter from his new GM as many times as he has, you got to field at 200%. That's how it works.
That's how it works. You got Michael Harris Jr. there. He's a 2020. You got the Rookie of the Year and Drake Baldwin. You still got Matt Olson. Matt Olson can still lead the league in RBI. You got Ozzie Albies, who's due for a bounce back. He ended the season with a hamate bone injury. There's just a lot of talent in Atlanta, and I think we're sleeping on them. And they have a tradition of winning as well. So I think they're very undervalued. I don't know that they're necessarily going to win the World Series, but I think they are probably the most undervalued NL team at this moment. And I think they could easily win the division despite the Phillies and the Mets being what everybody's talking about.
Yeah, I think they're an interesting team to say the least, but their fall off last year was very dramatic.
Yeah.
I am worried about their health. But if they stay healthy, I mean, obviously, I think Austin Riley is a guy that should accidentally hit 40 home runs. I think Matt Olson needs to just get back to his former ways, because I don't know if you saw Major League Baseball putting out their shredders and their lists, and it's got to be a tough bullet for a lot of those Braves fans to see that Freddie Freeman once again listed the #1 first baseman in Major League Baseball. And I know I've said this on the air before, but I'm going to say it again. And I'm not saying this to harm you Braves fans. I'm just saying it because it's reality. That man is going in the Hall of Fame as a Dodger. I don't remember him even being on the Braves.
It's true. It's true. Everybody thinks of him as a Dodger now. And he has a World Series with both teams. So there's
really he's got argument. 2 in LA.
He's got 2 with Dodger. That's true. He has 2 with LA. So yeah, I think he's going in as a Dodger as well. And also he's from LA. He's from here.
Yes, he is.
Like he's local.
And
so,
And also, you and I talked about this off the air. Super Bowl last week being as boring as it was, the commercials sucked. Why is it the best Super Bowl commercial happened like 3 months ago, and it was starring Freddie Freeman trying to cheer up kids in Canada, and they kick his ass out? That's the best commercial I've seen in a year.
That's so true. Oh my God, the Super Bowl commercials were so boring. They were so depressing about the state of the world. It's all about AI or Ozempic. I mean, it was awful. Everything was awful. Does nobody have a sense of humor anymore, by the way? Why can't you write how hard is it to write a funny commercial? You got all year.
Apparently very hard. It's very, very, very hard.
If you're Coinbase, you're just going to give me a blue screen. And then at the end, and I guess it worked because everyone's like, Coinbase? And then I guess they're all going to Google Coinbase. But come on, jeez, it was painful.
Yeah. It was gross. It was flat out gross. We've had a lot of conversations about the AI commercials. We actually have a lot of conversations about AI in general this week. But let's keep it on baseball real quick because Jen, I've had this theory, and Shane, producer Shane, feel free to pipe in because you don't believe my theory. But as time's going forward, I'm feeling more and more, let's just say, better about my theory. And those of you that noticed CBAs in the past, you've noticed that the players get vilified very quickly when it comes to this. Oh, the greedy players, they need more money. Oh, how dare they? And then finally in the last CBA, I'm not sure exactly what it took. Maybe it was a lot more pundits like me constantly trying to remind players the difference between $1 million and $1 billion is just simply not the same thing. But it was very unique to see that old narrative of greedy players trying to get more money out of these owners no longer working. It's finally backfired on the owners, and the players absolutely made a killing in the last CBA. So my theory has been simply this: if you can't vilify the players, you got to vilify somebody. How do you get fans to get on board with a salary cap in Major League Baseball? In walks the Los Angeles Dodgers with their endless bankroll of sweet, sweet, sweet money. And not to mention, on top of that, sweet, sweet deferment payments, also having the luxury of being in Los Angeles, also having the luxury of the best weather probably in the country. Also being an organization that develops extremely well. So they've developed an outrageous amount of capital of just players to make ridiculous trades. So you create a new villain. And though the thing that Shane didn't believe was he didn't believe that the owners can be this well put together. And a part of me hears what he's saying going, yeah, maybe I'm giving them a little bit of credit. But I've also been in those CBA meetings with the Players Association, and I've seen the 4D chess that the owners try to play every single time a CBA comes up. And I'm bringing you this massive little opening to give you a tweet that was posted yesterday. This tweet was from Jeff Passett. Jeff Passett, who I firmly believe is one of the very best in the business when it comes to actually reporting actual news. And if you know Jeff, you know he is not a shill of Major League Baseball. However,
Right.
if he's given certain information, he may not be aware that he might be inadvertently shilling for Major League Baseball, because this tweet says everything Major League Baseball needs it to say, whether Jeff is aware of it or not. And here is the tweet. Fans are angry. A growing payroll disparity at a Dodgers team that has cracked the system, at others unwilling to do the same, and particularly at the threat of no baseball in 2027. Ladies and gentlemen, fans are angry. And who are they angry at? The Dodgers. Who are the other owners all angry at? The Dodgers. Why, we can't compete with the Dodgers, so something has to be done to take money away from the players. Not the Dodgers. No. We need to stop paying the players so much to stop the Dodgers. Guys, I don't know what to say other than I think every owner is in their boiler room going, good job, Dodgers, playing the role just the way we need. A true villain. If to me, the smoking gun was paying Kyle Tucker $10 million over the closest AAV. That was, to me, so ridiculous that I'm like, this has to be on purpose. There's just no other explanation.
I agree with you. That was the last straw to say, okay, this is getting ridiculous. It feels like on purpose. It feels like we're not in a conspiracy theory. It is absolutely coming true. Maybe you're not a conspiracy theorist if you're right, Cody? So I love Kyle Tucker. He is not worth what the Dodgers paid him. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. He makes more than any other athlete on an annual basis in Los Angeles. He makes more.
I don't get it. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah. I mean,
the fact that he's making double Cody
Stafford,
Bellinger is
Justin
crazy
Herbert.
to me. You keep naming players outside of Shohei's deferred money. He's making more money than everybody, and
he's making more money than everyone. And I'm sorry, this is a guy who's often cold in the spring. He has gotten injured. He can be a little. Is he very talented? Yes. Is he one of the top players? Yes. But is he Aaron Judge?
Is he worth twice as much money as Cody Bellinger?
No. Is he worth more than Cody Bellinger? Yes, I do
Yes,
believe
but not
that, but not
twice.
twice as much.
He's
No.
not two Cody Bellingers.
No.
He's us. I find them to be relatively comparable. That being said, yeah, if I had the choice between the two,
I would
I would think
Tucker.
I would take Tucker as well.
Yeah.
But this would be at like a $15 million markup, not a $130 million markup. It's just, to me, it's just what I think they're doing. I think it's getting more obvious by the day. And keep in mind, these tweets are coming out. And again, this is not me saying, man, can you believe Passan is carrying water for Major? He's not. He is mentioning a real problem.
Right.
But I do think it's a real problem that is being manufactured specifically by the owners of Major League Baseball.
It's a real problem because exactly what you mentioned about Jeff Passan, but also others. I have people on my Twitter timeline, or what X timeline, whatever we call it these days, that don't care about baseball at all, that don't like baseball at all. But this triggers them. What the Dodgers have done triggers them, and suddenly they're interested. And maybe that's part of it too, right? Maybe it's part of not only getting the new negotiations going, but also getting people interested. Oh, we need a scandal here. You know, we had the Astros scandal a while ago. Everybody got in on that and got, had an opinion. We need a scandal now. Everybody has an opinion about get MLB back in the headlines. That's a possibility.
Yeah. Jimmy in Ohio asked the question, baseball is going to destroy itself. Why, Cody?
I mean, we say this every year.
Unfortunately, the true answer is what the answer to every question under the sun is: money.
Yeah.
Rich people want to hold on to their money. Major League Baseball is making more money right now than it ever has. Last year, that World Series garnered more viewers than the previous 37 years. The Dodgers, despite all this spending, made a revenue of $1 billion just in last calendar year. Now, every team is crying poor rather than copy, paste, implement into my own organization.
Is true.
That not weird to all of you? Because it sure as shit is weird to me.
That's true. And there are some fans that are saying, hey, why don't you just spend money like the Dodgers and then we'll have a return like the Dodgers and we'll have a good team. But of course, what's scary about that, as you pointed out, Cody, there's going to be a lot of people making a lot of money.
And that's at the end of the day. And keep in mind, Major League Baseball, it's the money that they make. It's always for the short term. Most owners are not here for the long haul. A lot of these owners are just buying these teams with conglomerates and selling off their portions whenever they get a chance, especially if a big sale comes along. And I always like to cite the Texas Rangers. Remember, the Texas Rangers got to 2 straight World Series. During that time, they sold the team for like $560 million. That new ownership group was successful in tanking that team from 2 World Series to being the worst team in the AL West. They got the city of Arlington to build them a $2.1 billion stadium, and then they sold the team immediately for $1.8 billion, which I don't know what to say is $1.3 billion more than they bought it for just 9 years earlier. And you think the players make too much? Wow! Oh, shit!
Yeah. And the city of Arlington has built them a stadium a couple times now. It's a good team to do that with, actually. Now I think about it. I'm from Dallas, so grew up a Rangers fan and then changed my mind as I got older.
There was some more controversy also yesterday. We did announce, because it happened while we were live on the air.
Yes.
Nick Castellanos was released yesterday by the Phillies.
Nick.
And yes, he was a negative WAR player last year. Yes, he has his ebbs and flows. This guy's a roller coaster. One year he's fantastic. The next year he kind of falls off a cliff. So if you're a team that's looking for a player at a on the cheap right now that could possibly give you some numbers, I look no further than Nick Castellanos. But there was a lot of talk that Nick Castellanos was going to be traded, and a team that was definitely in on it was the Yankees. But supposedly, and if you believe current rumors that are out there, they and other teams were talked out of it. Why were they talked out of it? Well, immediately this report comes out that Nick Castellanos, while being benched, brought a beer into the dugout and drank a beer. Wow. Controversy. My honest first take, and I'll tell you what it is, and we can get into why, is someone, I don't know who, but someone specifically has it out for Nick Castellanos. I'm not suggesting entirely that it is Commissioner Rob Manfred, despite how very vocal Nick Castellanos has been about Rob Manfred. I will tell you, if you're telling me right now it's because he had a beer in the dugout, nope. Nope, 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 nope. I cannot stress this enough. Fucking nope.
So I have heard from people who know Nick Castellanos personally, not sports people, people that know him in his real life, that he is not pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've heard that once or twice as well.
Yes. My guess is that he is not good in the clubhouse, that the other players don't like him, and that there's a lot that we don't know about Nick Castellanos. Mm-hmm. And teams have been talked out of it because, yeah, he probably has done something that we don't know about. And I think that the Miami incident is a cover-up. I think it's a cover-up. This is conspiracy theory day. Mm-hmm. Oh, like, okay, so he's insubordinate. He brings a beer into the dugout. Okay, that's wrong, whatever, etc. But
is it?
Well, it's, I mean, who hasn't had a drink at work?
I just want to point this out. Now, I feel like before we get into the drink, now he wasn't drinking on the job and going out and playing.
And he didn't drink it. He just brought it in. But isn't that almost like taunting, right? Don't you get like a penalty for that in the NFL? You get fined.
Here's a photo of my clubhouse in El Paso. That is a tiki bar next to my locker that, was fully operational for 4 years. I don't know what to tell you other than everybody in baseball, if they're not in the game or they know they're out, they're drinking. How many people did I drink at this tiki bar with? Well, let's see. My entire team, my coaching staff, my front office coaching staff. I had Mark Kotze, manager of the current Sacramento A's, and Trevor Hoffman going into the clubhouse and doing shots between innings to come back into the clubhouse. Drinking culture in baseball is a very common thing, and guys are always drinking, especially if they're not playing. And I do kind of lean towards you. The drinking in the clubhouse and the dugout thing is clearly just a smokescreen for something else. I just don't know what it is. But I do know that I have heard that he's been problematic in clubhouses, but I've also heard from other people that they say he's awesome. So I don't know what to really believe when it comes to that. I just know that this report comes out and immediately makes me go, somebody's trying to stop Nick Castellanos from playing.
Yeah, and who knows for why, but that is absolutely true. But my favorite is he hand wrote it out like a confession, right?
Yeah.
Miami incident. Oh God, the Miami incident. That is hysterical to me. It's just ridiculous. The Miami incident of bringing a court. Maybe what did he bring? I mean, maybe that was the incident. Did he bring like a Natty Light? Is that what this is about? Should have had a Blue Moon.
He probably put a beer in like a water bottle, like we always would do, and that's
like when it. Like when you're in New York and you take it to Central Park and you have a sippy cup. I mean, we all do this.
Again, this was my clubhouse in right behind the dugout. My manager, who definitely knew about it, is 2-time manager of the year, Pat Murphy. He was my manager. No problem. My front office people Hall of Famers would drink with me here. My teammates would drink with me here. So that's what I'm just saying. If you think that Nick Castellanos has been released and blackballed because he had a beer in the dugout,
no,
please, it's not the case.
No way. That's not why.
Yeah.
It's absolutely not why.
Absolutely not why. However, I do think it's funny that they're trying to paint that narrative on him. It's just weird to me that they're doing it.
Hilarious.
Well, let's go ahead and bring in our guy Shane because it is time for his quick hitters.
Okay, good afternoon. How are we doing?
Great now.
Good. All good here in Chicago. All right, number one. Right before our show today, Chris Paul announced that he is retiring from the game of basketball. Top 3 point guard of all time?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Magic, Jerry West, and Chris Paul? Magic, Steph Curry, and Chris Paul?
I would go Steph Curry now, and then I would go Magic, and then I'd go Chris Paul. And part of it might be a little bit of the longevity of the amount of years he's played. And I know a lot of people like to always cite championships, but I actually will cite something different. The amount of teams he's played for and the amount of success he's had for different teams. Now, I know he's not known as the best clubhouse guy, especially due to recent events, but I mean, you can't deny that Chris Paul was not a dominant player, especially in his youth.
I agree. I have to say, I don't have heavy opinions on NBA. I'm not, but I do know that Chris Paul is a great player. And I would say I would also put Steph in the top 3.
I would put Steph at 1 myself. But by the way, not everybody agrees with us. Jeets right there says top 3 most fragile, possibly. And then Jimmy in Ohio, no way that he is top 3, not even top 6. Interesting. Listen, it's a... I don't know who else you would throw, how many guys you would throw above Chris Paul in this situation. You got other names out there that just come to your mind, Shane? Because, I mean, CP3, man.
I mean, Oscar Robertson, maybe. Steve Nash, Isaiah Thomas, Jason Kidd, but I wouldn't put them above Chris Paul.
Me neither.
No shot.
Yeah, so I go 3. He's my 3, baby.
Move on. It was ruled that Brian Flores' discrimination case against the NFL can be taken to court. Is this the only reason that he's not getting a head coaching job?
I would say no, it's not the only reason, though I do think it's a major reason. I would say it's not the only reason. He's had head coaching jobs before. It didn't go well for him in Miami.
But before this, I mean, his name wasn't even bantered around for an opening this offseason. And there were, 9 openings?
There were. He was, but again, this is the same way I feel like Mike McDaniel is better as an offensive coordinator than he is as a head coach. I didn't think Mike McDaniel needed a head coaching job this year either. I think he made the right choice. And obviously we're not talking about it being Brian Flores' choice, but Brian Flores is a phenomenal defensive coordinator. I just don't think I think there's a possibility, much like Josh McDaniels, right? There's some people that just don't fit that role. And I think that there's a possibility that Brian Flores, it's not that there are people that I don't think it's just the case. I think that's a major part of it, but I think there also could be the fact that the players were very unhappy in Miami when he was the head coach, and it wasn't that successful. So
I mean, Tua was. I mean, Tua wasn't quiet about it either after the fact.
Yes, and I think a few other players as well. So I would say yes, I do think it's a major part of it, but I wouldn't say it's 100%.
I mean, it's a discrimination case. We didn't see any African-American head coaches get a new job this last year. I don't even know if the Rooney Rule even applies anymore. It didn't even seem like a whole lot of, people of color even got opportunities to even interview, at least that I was able to see. I don't know, man. It seems ugly to me, especially with this lawsuit looming over the NFL.
All right, number 3. You guys familiar with the end of season / off season NFL report cards where a firm comes out and grades each franchise on workout facility and food and So
Jets are always last at everything.
Yes, Jets are always last.
As of today, it's been ruled that those results are no longer allowed to go public because they're not actually done by the players. They're done by a third-party firm that analyzes and puts that stuff out there. Players put up a stink. They're like, yeah, you're right. We should do that. So that leads me to Pro Football Focus. This is another third party that the NFL uses on Sunday night and Monday night games to rank players based on their skill per Pro Football Focus, and players fucking hate it. Absolutely hate it. If you're going to rid yourself of publicizing these report cards, should you rid yourself of using Pro Football Focus as the end-all be-all to rank active players?
Yes. Fucking yes.
That's been yes for quite some time.
I mean, it is pretty ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
And Shane, just the right out the gate double standard is just staggering. Oh, no. We can't be criticized, but let's definitely criticize these players. What sacks of shit every owner is.
All right, that's it for quick hitters.
And that's another rousing day of quick hitters. Jen, I got to ask you this question because it's do you care at all about the NBA All-Star game? Normally it used to be required viewing. Now I am going to watch this Sunday, no question about it. And there are things that I'm interested in. And I did like KD's comments. It did get me a little more hyped for this potential. But I'm having a little bit of an issue going into this because I've been clamoring for US versus the world for, I'm not kidding, years and years and years. And yeah, they're giving it to us, but they're kind of giving us a very weird one with the Stars team and the Stripes team. So you got a young team and an old team representing the US. And then you got the world team, which is a little banged up and not everybody might be in. Luka Doncic is currently dealing with some injury issues. So what are we actually going to see in this matchup? And then I'm also just looking at the obvious fact in the room, which is simply this. Did they pick the worst possible year to do this? Because there's already a better US versus the world taking place right now in the Olympics. And then in 3 weeks, we got the WBC, which I can't stress enough, is such a better version of US versus the world than this. I don't know what to do with myself. Do you remember that last WBC that ended with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani facing off? It was
that was so good.
Oh, it was the best.
Yes, it was. It was. That was everybody was watching that at bat. That was amazing. Yeah, it's interesting choice. I mean, I don't think anybody cares about US versus the world for the All-Star game, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people are in the mood for US versus the world. Maybe they're in the mood because they're already watching the Olympics and they're getting ready to cheer on WBC. I don't know. I'm playing devil's advocate.
I don't know. I'm looking. I want this to be good. But it's also like we talked about it yesterday because Shane asked us the question, what's the best game or the best all-star game? And I immediately vehemently yelling over and over and over and over again, baseball, because of all of everything that kind of takes place in it. Not only do you have the all-star game, which is a hard-fought baseball game, but on top of that, you also have the home run derby. And I give Major League Baseball a lot of shit. And the reason why I give Major League Baseball a lot of shit is because I want the game to be better. I want the game to be more inclusive. I want the game baseball was the last sport of all the major sports to be willing to peel back the curtain. They were terrified of people seeing what happens behind the scenes in Major League Baseball for whatever reason, whether it's a financial reason, whether it's, old snobs stuck in their old ways, whatever it is. But over this last 5-10 years, baseball, I think is done, and probably COVID kind of forced them into it. They've kind of really peeled back the curtain and kind of given a little bit more of a look and seeing what this game is. And now they've added more pageantry. Now you got red carpet events for the All-Star game. It's a week-long event for whatever city that it's in. The NBA, I just feel like, has gone 9 steps backwards. I thought they recreated some magic with Steph versus Sabrina a couple years ago, yet we've done nothing of that kind ever since. And especially with the uptick in the WNBA, like give me Steph, Sabrina, and Caitlin Clark. Give me something else, because we got another dunk contest I don't give a shit about.
And to your point, I think another reason why the MLB All-Star game could easily be chosen as the favorite has to do with timing. Like you were saying, it's the middle of the summer. There's nothing else going on. Everything pauses. You relax. You have a few days to watch guys swat home runs. And then you have 2 teams that are actually kind of playing. They only play a little bit, but they play. They really do care about winning. We had that swing off for when it went into the tie.
I would prefer it not to have happened that way, but listen, I appreciated it. It was fun. It was fun.
It was different and it was fun. I thought I would hate it and I didn't hate it at all. So I think timing wise that it makes sense. And I think you're right. There's a lot going on right now. We've got the Olympics. We've got World Baseball Classic. Then soon after we have March Madness. We have golf everywhere, all of that. So to just kind of insert this US versus the world all-star game feels like a bit of a miss, but that's okay. We'll find out. We'll see what the viewership is. We'll see how people respond. But NBA is pretty good at like getting creative and coming up with a new gimmick if they need to.
Yeah, and I appreciate them trying new gimmicks. They keep not working, which is bothering me a little bit. But you just touched on a little bit. The WBC is coming, and I am as a guy that's played in the WBC 2 times. I am really excited for this upcoming WBC. The problem is, and I think this is something that, it's another one of those U.S. versus the world situations. There is one problem I need to get everybody kind of ready for. The U.S. might not even be in the top 5 of best teams in this current WBC. And you were telling me before the show about the gambling odds. The fact that it's not minus money for Japan is wild to me. Have we learned nothing about Major League Baseball in the last 25 years? Japan's better than us at baseball. And I don't even think it's close anymore. And yeah, Ohtani's not going to be pitching. It doesn't matter. That Japan's a pitching farm. Our best pitchers in Major League Baseball are all from Japan.
In fact, 5 of the Rookie of the Year favorites in the AL, of the top 5, 3 of the favorite AL Rookies of the Year are all from Japan. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they have incredible pitching. They won this last go round. It's better than 3-1 for Japan to win. It's like plus 320 at DraftKings. And I don't know if you guys are into prediction markets, but to me, I'm like, this is a place to play a prediction market. You go to Kalshi, you go to Poly Market, you buy Japan at 10 cents a share. I don't know what it is. I'm making up numbers. And then when everybody, because US is going to be the most expensive, when everybody realizes that the US is probably not going to win, they're going to try to start buying Japan. You don't even have to wait for Japan to win. You just double jump your money, sell your shares. I mean, like, this is
not just Japan, by the way.
You could buy Venezuela. You could buy Mexico. You could buy Puerto Rico, Dominican. I mean, there's a ton of places. Cuba. I don't know. Does Cuba play in the WBC?
Yeah, I'm telling you, they do actually. And in fact, I beat Cuba in the WBC in Japan when I played for Israel in 2017. And they usually have a pretty decent team.
Yeah.
But here are the teams you always got to watch out for. Obviously, Japan, who have won 3 World Baseball Classics, by the way. There have been, 5 World Baseball Classics? Japan has won 3 of them. The Dominican has won 1 of them. By the way, look up that Dominican team. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, what a team put together. And then you got Venezuela, which is going to be another juggernaut team. The only team that I would have said also would be above the U.S. this year, they might not be due to insurance issues. And I do want to talk to you about this, and that's Team Puerto Rico. There are a couple of players that were going to play on Puerto Rico that Major League Baseball and specifically their teams were refusing to insure. And those following players are Carlos Correa, who gets banged up all the time. So I kind of understand
I wouldn't have let him play. No way.
I understand this. And then the other one, Francisco Lindor, who, don't worry, has a broken hammock bone, isn't going to be playing it anyways.
Right.
But losing those 2 players is a big deal. But this is why I wanted to bring this up. The biggest superhero currently living on Earth is Bad Bunny, who is just having the best possible week. How good of a week is this man having? Well, he just had a 3rd highest rated halftime show of all time, coming out to universal praise, except for all the mouth breathers out there who just are so ashamed that they didn't learn any Spanish in high school. And then you get out the news that, Team Puerto Rico can't handle the insurance of some of these players. Don't worry. I'm Bad Bunny. Here's a check. Boom. And Bad Bunny offered to pay for the entire thing himself. Now, it was rejected because Major League Baseball apparently wouldn't allow it, which I can only imagine the legality of that situation.
Right.
But it all ended up being a moot point because the 2 players that they couldn't get insurance for, as far as I know, are not going to be playing in this tournament now.
That's right. Yeah, they won't. But it was a brilliant PR move. And probably sincere. I don't think it was just PR.
I agree. I agree. That is probably also sincere as well. But I don't know, man. I'm excited for the World Baseball Classic. If you were to just make your pick right now, who you taking? Me,
I would take Japan.
I'm taking Japan.
I would take Japan.
3-1. It's over 3-1 right now, dude.
320.
I'm in the wrong state. Could somebody in a free state please make this bet for me?
I'll be in Vegas
next
week.
You.
I'll do it for you. Yeah, I'll be there in a couple days.
Well. You know what we got to do?
It's so good.
Yeah, it is so good. And you know what we got to do right now? We got to shiggle.
Ooh.
That's right. It's time for shiggles. And of course, it's what we're shits and giggling about. And I'm going to start with mine because this story it's not just this story. It's all the stories around it. Can you think of anyone in America that's having a worse week than Stephon Diggs, because let's go through the list. In a week span, he loses the Super Bowl. He gets has the most public breakup maybe in America. You get found out that during said breakup, he's also being a bit of a shady piece of shit, because not only did he bring a baby mama to sit in the front row to a game that he's playing in the Super Bowl, he had apparently other women in the stands as well. Oh yeah, his girlfriend Cardi B is in the halftime show and performing throughout the entire week. And now, after the Super Bowl's over, watch the New England Patriots, the NFL, distance themselves a ton from him, because yesterday he pled not guilty to strangling his chef. Boy, this has been one hell of a week for Stephon Diggs.
It's been a bad week. Do you remember that social media video a couple of years ago? I can't remember if it was Minnesota or Buffalo, where they went around the locker room and they asked the guys, which of your teammates would you never let your sister date? And they were all like, Diggs.
All said Diggs.
Diggs.
And the best one was, my favorite was the one that said this. Oh, I don't know. And he goes, Diggs. Yeah. It was like a serious realization. He's like, you can't believe it took him 3 seconds for the name to come out. And he was so fucking serious when he gave that interest. That answer. Yeah. So Stephon Diggs, congratulations. You are having the worst week in America.
I think it's actually been good for Cardi B, though, because, she's got her tour coming up, and I think it's got her in the headlines. No press is bad press kind of situation. So at least Cardi B, or I don't know if we're rooting for Cardi B or not, but I bet she turns out okay from all of this. But yeah, I'm sure she'll be fine. She'll be fine.
What are you shiggling about?
Okay. Cody, sometimes I'm in the car and I'm driving and I'm listening to Sirius XM, your favorite, and I want to complain about these new Sirius XM artist channels they've decided to do. So first of all, I will say, I used to think that I didn't like Jimmy Buffett music. And then I found the Jimmy Buffett channel on Sirius XM. And now I know I don't like Jimmy Buffett music. I don't get it. And I understand this will ruffle a lot of feathers, and I understand supposedly it's a vibe, but it's the most depressing vibe. It's like a guy that lost his wife, his cat, his whatever, and now he's drinking away on this whatever. And, I don't know.
On a beach.
Alone. And a pirate looks
alone.
at 40.
He's got that drink with him. He's fine.
I knew I shouldn't pick a fight with the tiki guy. I knew you were going to be a Jimmy Buffett fan.
Listen, no. It's not that I'm a Jimmy Buffett fan. I do love me a tiki bar. I do love me a cheeseburger in paradise.
Who doesn't?
And I do like probably 3 Jimmy Buffett songs. One of which
give them to me.
Cheeseburger in Paradise.
Okay.
Steamer. Right. I remember that steamer, which I found out later is a boat. And what's another one of his most famous songs?
Come Monday.
He's got
Changes in latitude.
Well, yeah, I mean, Jimmy Buffett's fine, but I'm not sitting here going like, oh, damn you don't like Jimmy. I don't just throw on Jimmy Buffett because I'm feeling like, oh, let's jam it out and throw in some Buffett. No,
people do. People react very strongly to me saying I don't like Jimmy Buffett. I will also say though, with this artist channel, we've gone too far. Okay, I love grunge bands. I listened to them growing up in high school, whatever. I like the grunge. I have a
feeling we're gonna have a fight here.
I do not need a whole channel of Pearl Jam. I do not need to listen to Eddie Vedder on a loop.
Nope. Shane, please
Dave
chime in
Matthews
on
Band
this.
on a loop? No.
You're not gonna get me on your side on this one, Cody.
Oh. On Pearl Jam?
No, I don't like
Pearl Jam. I can do a mix of Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and all that together at the same time. But a Pearl Jam channel?
Are you? He's like he is Chicago.
Yeah, and he reminds you. Eddie Vedder loves to just show up places. I will tell you, he's a sweet dude. I've met him on a couple occasions. He's a really sweet dude. I just can't understand what he's saying.
Okay, so to that point, okay, does anybody else think that Eddie Vedder is just doing a Cher impression? Like, that's his whole thing. Like, if I could turn back time. Sounds exactly like Eddie Vedder.
I can hear it.
Wow, I've never thought of Cher.
Cher
like
and
that
Eddie Vedder are the same. Yeah. Deep thoughts. Thank you.
I'm not going to lie to you. Now that I'm thinking about it a little, but okay, listen. I disagree. I agree with the Jimmy Buffett take. I'm a little against you on the Pearl Jam take. However, it does lead me to a question for each one of you. Is there a genre of music that you used to shit on that you now are that now you're getting to an age you're like, you know what? I was wrong, because I know what it is, because I used to make fun of my dad all the time for yacht rock, and it turns out
I kind of like yacht rock.
Turns out yacht rock is the fucking shit. It is so good. Oh, I love me some yacht rock.
It is some CCR. Yeah.
Oh, give me some just good Doobie Brothers. Give me some old Boz Scaggs, and just let me jam it out a little bit softly.
I like that. Yes, I will say I used to really hate country music, which is especially weird growing up in Texas, but now I have some appreciation for some of it. I have to say, like, I actually really like to listen to old Garth Brooks tunes now. I think they're nostalgic, and I think they're pretty good. So
you're speaking Shane's language right there. That's what Shane's all about. He loves him some Garth.
Love 90s country in the house.
Yeah. And Brooks and Dunn. Yeah, I used to not like it, but now I do. Now I don't know if it's just nostalgic, but I actually think it's good. And country music is interesting because it tells more stories. Like, you get to kind of have like a story, like you can see the relationship, you can see the whatever, and not in that Jimmy Buffett depressed, I'm eating a burger with my belly hanging out, drinking tequila on the beach kind of way.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, yacht rock is the shit. And even though you were both big, Garth friends, I've always been a bigger fan of Chris Gaines myself. Shane, you got anything you're shiggling about before we shut it down?
Yeah, you guys are familiar with Kristi Noem, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Sadly.
Okay. So she's been using a $70 million jet to fly around the country, sometimes with Donald Trump, sometimes not with Donald Trump, but she has her own little adventures. They had to switch planes recently. And Kristi Noem, her blanket that she was using on the first plane did not make it over to the switch in the second plane. So she fired the National Guard pilot that was flying the private jet and told him to fly home commercially, only to then have to reinstate him because they had nobody to fly her plane. What a dumb bitch.
The fuck?
She is just so stupid, and I'm so tired of this administration.
Too bad her puppy didn't get the same second chance.
Yeah, you would think. Dude, I go back and forth all the time, and we can go around the room of who I hate most in this administration. And honest to God, it usually is always Stephen Miller, because sadly I fucking went to high school with this cat, and I cannot fathom that there's a single human being that has listened to a word out of Stephen Miller's mouth and have not immediately just punched him in the face. We didn't take him seriously in high school because we, honest to God, thought he would be like a homeless psychopath in between 3rd Street Promenade alleyway and those parking structures, yelling racist shit at pigeons. Instead, he's yelling the racist shit at the pigeons of America on Fox News. That being said, Kristi Noem might be fucking worse.
She's so stupid, dude.
Oh my God.
I don't like when women make their face. Says the girl with no makeup that came with a ball cap on. When women go out of control to fakeify their faces. That makes everything worse to me. And then try to act tough. I don't understand needing to. Here I am wearing a camo cap. This is you, Snatch. Dress up like a Barbie. Yeah. For every photo. I don't. But so I have to. I don't know if that's like a woman thing or. But.
Yeah. Not for me.
Yeah.
Anyways, she sucks. Great shiggle. She's the worst. I hope that pilot made the flight as uncomfortable and awful as possible, just doing barrel rolls. Oh yeah. Not preparing.
I would have cranked up the freaking AC. You need a blanket?
Oh yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? But you know what? It's a very good time for us all to think back on the show and reflect. What are you reflecting on today, Jen Piacenti?
Well, I know we already reflected on it, but I just want to reflect once again on that World Series and say, can we just get back to that? let's just all enjoy having a great final. Let's have a sport with a great final. Whatever needs to be done with collective bargaining agreements or whatever, MLB, please try to keep that magic, catch it in a bottle. Let's do it again. Let's enjoy our final. Let's not have another boring Super Bowl. Congratulations to the Seahawks, by the way. Congratulations to Sam Darnold, and who's a local guy, right? Cody, right here, San Clemente. But it's fantastic. The defense does win championships, all that. It just doesn't make great TV. And they say that all the time about baseball being boring. We had 7 games, one of which was a pitcher's duel, and then we had a game go into extras. It was phenomenal. And so I'm just reflecting on how much I enjoyed that World Series, and I hope we have more and more of them, and I hope it brings more and more people to see the light that baseball is a phenomenal sport.
Completely agree. Shane, you got anything, my guy?
Yeah, I hate to say this, but I am kind of coming around on your Dodgers theory. I still don't believe that all 29 other owners could get together and kind of let the Dodgers do what they're doing. I don't believe that happened like you kind of believe happened, but I do believe it's kind of when you have a problem or when someone's doing something you don't agree with, they kind of just say, let them. Maybe a collective owner's message is just let them screw everyone over. Let them kickstart this for us. I still don't agree with it, but I'm coming along on your theory a little bit more.
I love
it.
So
we've got the Mel Robbins approach to Cody Decker's MLB theory. I like
just
it.
Wait, give it 3 more months. He's gonna be like, they met in February in a fucking shadowy boiler room. He's gonna have videos. Like, I knew it all along. He was right.
It's on the ring cam.
Oh God, not the ring cam. My reflection is also baseball oriented. I'm so excited for this upcoming WBC. I think it's going to be a blast. I'm excited for this upcoming season. I'm looking forward to seeing who can actually take down the Dodgers this year, and I do hope it's the Seattle Mariners. I just so desperately don't want, because Major League Baseball is really, for this last about 2 years, kind of getting its resurgence that it's desperately needed. And it's really there. You look no further than what that last World Series did, that last playoffs did, the amount of money that's being made in Major League Baseball, the ratings. I know this is not a ratings world anymore because ratings are not done the same way. But when you get 51 million live viewers to watch a World Series game in today's day and age, when they're not necessarily competing with other sports, they're competing with everything else in the world. I'm talking media. You have a phone in your hand that is just endlessly playing you clips, yet 51 million people worldwide sat down on their couches and watched that game. Dude, baseball's back. So owners, please don't fucking kill it.
Cosign.
Yeah. So that is it. Jen Piacenti, as always, we cannot thank you enough for joining us today. You were great, as you always are. Can you tell people where to find you? Because Shark Bets is the most important place to get your bets.
Oh. Yeah. Hey guys, download Shark Bets. So yeah, I started an app. It's called Shark Bets. It's basically my betting pick straight to you. You can get it in the App Store, the Google iOS Store. Just Google Shark Bets. And we have some PGA bets live right now. But pretty soon, what's really exciting is we're going to start with MLB. Last year, up almost 100 units just in MLB. So nearly $10,000 for a $100 better. Okay, blah, blah, blah. That's my spiel. Anyway, it's fun. That's the point. It's fun. You get my 30-second, 60-second audio picks or video picks a couple times a week, and we bet on some home runs, we bet on some strikeout props, we bet on some parlays, we do it all. We have fun.
Well, I can't stress enough. I have worked with Jen in this gambling sphere many, many times. She's one of the very best in the business. So make sure you follow her on all social medias. Also, like, share, and subscribe to this show right here on YouTube. Not to mention, on top of that, like, share, and subscribe to us everywhere on our social media accounts. We're very active on our Instagram page, so you can follow us there. Please, at Beadle and Decker. We'll be posting clips throughout today's show. And, of course, yesterday's show. We still have 2 more clips going out with that with Keith Irizarry. And we will be back here live on Monday, myself and Michelle Beadle, right here live at noon Pacific time, right here on Beadle and Decker. And, guys, we can't thank everybody enough. Shane, you're the greatest. Jen, you're the greatest. And the only thing that might be greater than all of us is the one that's no longer with us. And, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say, R.I.P. Estelle Getty.